they think...
Where do you stand?
I think a man is a provider.
That's a problem.
A man is a provider.
That's a problem. But here's what I mean by that is a problem. Men can no longer define themselves as providers because now women are providers as well. And sometimes, or in other situations, women provide better than the men. So how can a man still describe himself or define himself as a provider?
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. I am Tavi and this is Max. We noticed that we had never told you our names. We'd always be like, hey guys, and then you don't really know what our names are. So I am Tavi and this is Max.
And of course those are nicknames, right?
They are nicknames.
And that's how we are known to people who are close to us. Yeah, some of you may know other names or our actual real names, but yeah, we want this to be casual and not so formal. Yeah.
Yes. It's been a while since we last posted a video. Oh my goodness, it's been a very hectic past couple of weeks. Babe, what do you think is the most difficult thing about being human or being an adult? What do you think is the most difficult thing about being an adult?
Isn't everything difficult about being an adult? I don't know. Which one is the most difficult? I don't know. Maybe making things work. Making sure that things go well. If you're a parent, making sure that parenting goes well. You do it well. You raise your children right. You make sure that there's always food in the house. Yeah, you don't just do things whenever you want and however you want. I don't know. Is it the most difficult thing or is it the most beautiful thing about it? I don't know. But I think being an adult overall is, if you're not careful, can be difficult. You can make mistakes if you're not careful. But I'm not really sure what is the most difficult thing. But what is the most difficult thing for you?
I think what is challenging about maybe life in general is just being consistent. Consistency.
That's what you wanted me to say.
Yes. I think guys, you need to be consistent about everything, about waking up daily in the morning, making breakfast, daily routine. It's that thing that you need to do that it sort of gets boring with time, but you need to do it.
But for it to become boring, it means maybe as a person you have not accepted that life is a routine itself. The sun rises and sets every day without fail. For millions of years it has been happening since existence, So if we sort of want to go against that, which I normally call the grain of life, if you want to go against the grain of life, I mean, you're going to be opposing life, and of course it won't treat you well. That's where you're going to feel like waking up every day is a burden. Of course, at some point you get tired, but there's some people who actually hate routines, and it's a problem. You're not doing yourself any favors by hating routines. It is best to actually embrace routines, because with a routined life comes consistency, as you're saying. Because now you find that you're doing one and the same thing every day.
All over again.
Yeah. But that is what gets you good at things. That's what gets you to succeed. If you're running a business, you need to run it well each day. The activities that you need to perform every day. And yeah, I feel like it's quite important.
All right. Yes, so what is the agenda of today?
Yeah, I got invited to speak at a Father's Day event by a friend of mine who runs a daycare. So he had invited the fathers of the kids that they have there to come to this event. So I was invited alongside my colleague who entered Mr. S.A.
Ooh,
so he's a
Mr.
contestant
South Africa.
there. Yeah, I'll put these details somewhere. Yeah, so he was talking about parenting and I was talking about finance. And something sparked my interest. I was talking about budgeting actually. And one of the gents gave me a scenario. I don't know if this is a real thing that's happening in his house or it's just something that happens overall. And I think we realized that when we made the video about financial infidelity, we didn't actually bring in scenarios. And I thought this was a very good chance to take a real life scenario and talk about it. So the scenario is that it's a family. There's a husband and a wife, of course. And so it happens that they both are working. But the gentleman's salary is the one that is used first. See, it has to pay for everything. The bond, the car, the food, everything has to be paid for with his money. And when his money runs out, his expectation is that now the wife would now take over whatever responsibilities financially and push. But the wife is not willing to do that. Okay. The wife feels like his money is the family's money, but her money is her money. So the question was, how do we work around that one? How do we solve that? And so that's what I wanted to bring to the channel and ask my wife to, tell us how that could be done. Or maybe she even feels the same way too. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But how do you think we can solve this situation whereby the lady feels her money is her money, but the husband's money is their money?
I think we also have to look at it from different perspectives.
Okay.
For instance, there's this whole aspect of a man being the provider of the family.
Yeah.
So I think that is a lot of women's stance. That's where they stand. They think,
where do you stand?
I think a man is a provider.
That's a problem. A
man is a provider.
That's a problem. I'm just trying to make it difficult for you, but not really. But here's what I mean by that is a problem. Men can no longer define themselves as providers because now women are providers as well. And sometimes, or in other situations, women provide better than the men. So how can a man still describe himself or define himself as a provider?
It has to be like that biblically.
Yeah,
if we're Christians, a man has to be a provider and the woman has to be a helper.
But what does that mean? Does it mean the woman's money is hers and the husband's money is theirs?
The sole breadwinner of a family is the man. So that is what a lot of us women believe, and I believe it. So a man is a provider.
But I feel like you're not answering me.
Yeah, so a lot of women, as I've mentioned, believe that men are providers, and biblically that's how it was meant, for a man to be a provider, and that just help us, which is why probably they will not put in the salaries into the family's budget. But in my opinion, as a woman, I think in this day and economy, it has to change. As I had said in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, we'll probably link it somewhere and then you can watch it. We need to be 50-50 in this. We need to help each other. We are building a family. And if we're building a family and we're in this together, I don't see why we can't bring your eggs and I bring my eggs, and then we put them in one basket and build a family. That is my opinion about this. I know it's still difficult because a lot of people do it, but I think it's worth trying. Yeah, the more, the merrier.
I think that's essentially what we said in our previous video, to say, how powerful could your funds be on your own? It doesn't matter how little the other person is bringing or how much more they bring. Actually, the more they bring, the better. Like you said, the merrier. But if one feels like their finances or their money could achieve everything, I think that is a grave mistake. It's a huge, huge mistake. Yeah, but the main thing, as we said in the previous video, is that we need to first communicate. We need to have a culture of communicating as couples. So if you need to schedule a date, because, this is what the whites have been doing for so long. Europeans are doing this. They've been doing this for years. I mean, in a week, there's date night. Maybe it's a Friday. That's when they go out. And the kids won't be coming with. So I think we need to start normalizing that ourselves. Even if you don't go out, but in the house, have some time where you just sit, get to know your person, get to share your goals in life, your dreams. And so that will help in formulating the bigger plan or the dream together, so that you can now feel both comfortable working towards the dream together. Because it becomes a problem when people have two different dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You have your dream, I have my dream.
True.
And the dreams are not the same at all. So, of course, I will keep my money and try to chase my dreams using my money, and you will do the same. But now it becomes a problem because, as you say, men are thought to be or are known to be providers. But I still stand on the point that it is difficult for a man today to define themselves solely or mainly as a provider, because our women provide too. And there's a point where you said a man is primarily a provider, right? Of course, that's what we want to be. I don't know of any man who doesn't want to provide for their family. We want to be there. But the challenge is that now you ladies are providers as well. How am I going to define myself as a provider when you are a provider as well? So are you a man as well, or are you a husband as well? So it's a bit of a problem. That's why the idea of coming together, having one dream idea or whatever it is, makes better sense, right? Because now you will work towards your finances together. You will budget together, as we said in our previous video. You will set budget together, and you will combine your money in a joint account. You will also have two separate discretionary spending accounts, and in those separate discretionary accounts, equal amounts will be sent into those accounts. If it's 1,000 for me, it's 1,000 for you. It's not 1,500 for me and 1,000 for you. It does not matter how much I'm making more than you, or how much more you are making than me. So it is very important that we start bringing money together or pulling funds. And I remember when I suggested that we talk about this, you told me that you were talking about this with one of your clients. Could you share that?
Yeah, from Spain.
Yeah.
He's my biggest fan. I know you're watching this, Mr. Jose. Shout out. He's from Spain, and he's actually said he had watched the video about financial infidelity, and he said to me, I don't relate much to what you said in the video, because in Europe, it's not a big problem. Our wives work, I work, it's not even up for discussion. At the end of the month, she brings her salary, I bring my salary into our joint account, and then we grow our family. And so I think in Africa, we're still a bit backward. I know we're trying to westernize and take some of the cultures that, you know, from the Western world, but we are not doing it the way they are doing it, which is why they will always be more successful than we are.
But I don't think we need to do it exactly as they do it, or everything as they do. We need to cherry pick things we think are needed, because context is also important. The European context and the African context are not the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. So whatever is happening in Europe is not the same as what is happening in Africa. And whatever is acceptable may not fully be acceptable here. We could take parts of ideas that can work for us here and continue. Because I still feel like and believe that we have our own ways that are still quite good.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but we need to also look around the world and see what works and take out what does not work for us and get what works for other people. Yeah.
I think that's very important. Yeah. Triage. If you are to use it in the...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, what is triage?
Yeah, like cherry picking what is important, priorities, and being able to say, okay, this makes more sense for my family. Okay, I don't like this. I will not use it
because of context.
And whatever. So it actually is a big thing where families are not doing things together in financially, and that could pull us back as people.
Yeah.
But also I want to ask you, what do you think is the reason for women to not put in all of their funds into the family budget?
Yeah, there's a mirage of reasons that women, or because we shouldn't think only women are doing this. I think that would be a grave mistake on our side, because there are men who may be doing this. Their wives could be the ones who are, footing most of the bills, and the men are taking a back seat. And when they're supposed to now chip in, they don't want to. It's possible that both genders can do that. Yeah. But there are many reasons, especially for women. Most men, or some men, are known to be promiscuous, and that could sort of kill the trust between the two, people. And so the woman or the husband, in whatever case, may feel like they don't want to be, chipping in 100% and being together, because now they're thinking there can be a divorce here, or there's so many reasons really. But I think infidelity could be one of them. Another one could be that someone simply does not understand. Someone has never thought that their money together would be powerful. They trust in themselves so much, they feel like, no, I can do this on my own. I don't need this person. And I think that is a very big mistake. We need each other, and we are stronger together.
So basically, the reasons that could cause people not sharing their finances equally is lack of knowledge, lack of trust, and some infidelity, some assumptions also from the Bible that the man is a provider. In our families, I think we need to learn to be kind with one another. We need to learn to be very good at communicating. I think if we communicate, if we talk about things, that's where it's easy for us to solve our problems, to come down, share our ideas, and see our vision, our dreams. So let's be kind with our spouses. I know sometimes they can leave socks lying around in the bedroom.
Yes, we should, gents.
But let's love each other. Let's be kind and know that we are human at the end of the day. Yes.
So, speaking of kindness, don't leave those socks lying around. I know I said as we should. Don't. Be kind. I mean, your wife can't be breaking her waist, picking up your socks and underwear all the time. Come on, be helpful around the house. And I think if we are saying ladies should also chip in 50-50 with us in terms of money, and it means we also should be conscious of being helpful around the house. No chores are women chores or men's chores. Actually, this Father's Day event I went to, there's a gentleman who stressed that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was quite nice to hear it from an old gent actually. Said, chores are chores. Debt is debt. I don't know, is there debt that is labeled that this one is for your wife and this one is yours? And I felt like men need to hear that more. We really need to hear that more, because it is not helpful to simply want to burden one person with chores, but also come back and say, no, you must foot the bill, because now as a man I can't be a provider anymore. You are also a provider, you see. So we need to also start being cognizant of that and try and be helpful around the house as men. It's quite important. And I think I've echoed this, in subtle ways to some of my friends. There's a friend of mine, when he told me that he was getting married, I actually wrote to him that you must watch those dishes.
I remember where you said, hey, you must watch.
And he laughed. I don't know if he understood me or he thought it was just a joke, but I think he understands. It
really means a lot when our men are proactive in the house and they're helping around. It's actually very, very nice. You feel like, oh, I love him even more.
Wow. Okay. So he must be a horse or a cow and blah. That's it. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Our previous video on financial infidelity will be linked up here. You can go watch that if you haven't seen that. Signing out is Tabi and
Max.
Peace.
Peace.